back in the studio.
Yeah!
What's going on, you cacophonous, coughing cooter catchers? Welcome to Grunt Speak.
Live from the lab.
And Gleep, Glop, and Floop-de-Doo at your service, of course. What is this? You left me an empty bottle. How nice of you.
Sorry.
Virgil's handcrafted black cherry.
It's soda.
It's so handcrafted. It's in it's cane sugar. Okay, that means it's not going to completely rip apart your kidneys from the inside out.
Correct. And, I still drink a sugar soda a couple times a week, so.
It's just one of those things, man. As long as it's pure sugar, that high fructose corn syrup shit'll kill you.
Well, as you get older, you have a hard time, metabolizing sugar, so I've cut way back on that.
Yeah, you might as well just cut open a little pocket where your ass is, and then slide the bottles inside and just keep rotating them over like you're trying to keep beer cold in the vegetable drawer of your fridge, because that's exactly where it's going. And sooner or later, it's going to be just as bumpy and just as bubbly.
It'll be the devil's braille on your ass. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Bang and immediately leave. Let me reread that. Yeah, everything's brought to you by Pfizer nowadays. Don't pay too much attention to what the lamestream media is trying to shove down your throat. We're going to get to some lamestream media vomit later on.
Well, we are trying not to have whole shows dedicated to black pill stuff.
Yes, yeah. We're trying to actually, it's more important at this point, I think, to mock the woke.
Oh, God. Listen, you and I were put on this earth to do that.
Yep. And you know what? Apparently, we're not the only ones. If you guys haven't heard about this story, this is glorious, and more men need to step up to the plate and do this kind of stuff. You're going to love it. Men register as non-binary to overrun a recruiter booths at world's largest tech conference for women.
Yes. Listen. All right. First of all, men have no safety net.
No.
No one is coming to our rescue. There is no tax dollars to help us. It's on us to get out from under the thumb.
Yeah.
And we men, once we learn the rules of the system, we figure how to game the rules against themselves, how to operate outside the system. Some would call that cheating. I call it out-Darwining.
Out-Darwining, yeah.
Yes.
You got to try to out-Darwin.
You got to out-Darwin if you want to get by in this world. And I cannot blame these men for doing that. Yeah. I read this article, and there's actually 2 or 3 of them out there. And it's, one, it's comedy gold.
It is.
2, they need to do it. 3, it has to happen. And 4, I have no idea why they aren't suing the shit out of these companies that are offering this all-woman bullshit. Because if you had this is just a man's hiring conference, somebody would be getting sued in federal court.
Oh, you're not lying.
So we need to start suing the shit out of these people, because I don't want to see anyone starve or not be able to work because of the color of their skin or what's hanging or not hanging between their legs.
Amen
it's
to that.
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Not so much that they did it. That part's really funny. The backlash is even funnier. So to give you a little bit of a context here, annual Grace Hopper celebration isn't technically supposed to be a job fair. It's supposed to be a conference celebrating nerdy girls in the tech industry. However, corporate recruiters looking to spruce up their ESG scores are usually in high attendance. Considering over 265,000 tech employees have been laid off over the last 2 years, access to those recruiters at Grace Hopper is a hot commodity, and this year they opened conference to the gender spectrum, of course. Not a gathering of women and non-binary technologists. Yeah, now because that's real.
Non-binary basically means you are what you feel you are at the time. Am I right?
No, really what it comes down to, say this is a bottle of prescription medication. All right? And me over here, I'm a painfully ordinary, uninteresting, undesirable, leftoid shithead. And that right there is a prescription pills for a they-them pronoun.
So you can be different.
That's pretty much what they do.
So what you're saying is they're stuck in mediocrity land.
Yeah.
And they're grasping at yarn straws to get out of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Because anybody who's got a pulse at this point knows that marginalized people are really specially protected groups.
In current year, yes.
Yes, they have special privileges. They can go out and burn, loot, and murder, not get prosecuted for it. They can declare their identity and walk into a women's bathroom and, start taking pictures of the kitties, and you can't say anything, otherwise you're a phobe. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
That they're tired of being ordinary, they're tired of being ignored, they're tired of not being desired. So they've latched onto something that says anybody who doesn't accept me for who I am or desire me as a commodity for who I am is a bigot. And because people are so terrified of being called bigots, because, oh my God, who wants to be a bigot? There you go.
And listen, every single person out there has the power within them to not be ordinary.
Yeah.
Well, many times the things that keep you in the pool of mediocrity are your own fears, your lack of drive, period.
Exactly.
If you are so paralyzed what other people say or think about you that you are unwilling to crawl your ass out of that pool of mediocrity, you deserve to be there.
Yep.
I myself, every time I found, I was getting judo flipped into the pool of mediocrity, I always climbed out kicking and screaming, and sometimes covered in my own goddamn blood because I have no place there.
Yep. But we were talking about the backlash and the Islamophobic.
I need to look at that augmented ass.
It's very augmented, yes.
Yeah, that.
I'm sure that's totally what your mama gave you, honey.
No, she is literally on the verge of becoming full Tyrannosaurus rexitis.
You got like a good 3 to 5 years before that heads south.
I mean, she has already lit the fuse on that fat bomb.
Yeah. Asses like this are geese in like mid-October. It's only a matter of time before it heads south for the winter.
Yeah.
It's bad news.
Bad news. Sorry. I disturbed the whole show because of that unnatural ass.
Speaking of mediocre istophobics, apparently we gotta do something about all these women. Oh, I'm sorry, I just assumed their gender. Assuming the gender of all the non-binary, penis havers. I don't even know what you're supposed to call them. We got bonus hole keepers and birthing persons and all this bullshit nomenclature they're coming up with.
I'm a penis haver.
I'm a penis haver. I'm a penile protector.
Oh, my Lord.
Why am I seeing so many men at Grace Hopper? We can't have anything. It's some men are suddenly fake identifying with he, her pronouns to go to Grace Hopper.
All right.
Hang on.
So if we're going to acknowledge that people can fake their gender, when are you going to acknowledge that perverts can do the same thing?
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Listen, if I had a young child and there was somebody hanging out in the dressing room or locker room that was a penis haver, I would identify as the tooth fairy, and things would go awry really quick.
You'd still be a more believable tooth fairy than The Rock. Or was that Vin Diesel?
I'm not remembering.
I don't know if it was Dwayne Johnson or Vin Diesel.
I think it was Dwayne Johnson.
That was one that I looked at, and I was like, I'm good. If I got to watch a movie like that, I'll just pop in Kindergarten Cop.
Well, I took my daughters to see it. So.
Okay. That was one of those occasions where they actually talked you into something that wasn't a musical, right?
They only did that to me twice.
This is a musical, isn't it? Damn it. Homo suspicion point assessed.
Listen, I like my foo-foo drinks and such. I'm like, I have to be very cognizant of the homo suspicion point. I don't want to go, tip over the edge into like homo confirmed or homo suspected. I'm trying not to do that.
Yep. Oh, man. Speaking of homo confirmed, Matt Walsh actually chimed in and said, wow, amazing. A bunch of women in tech all suddenly decided that the word woman means something again.
Yeah, actually, and tomorrow, the stream I'm doing tomorrow with Jimmy, if he can make it, I want to do the one where I I'm going to talk about the Daily Wire and their marriage
Oh,
bullshit.
yes. Yeah, they're going very anti-red pill over there, which is kind of hilarious.
Now, normally I don't really step into the arena for shit like this, but
It's becoming more common. We're starting to see a lot more shame from our own, more infighting, essentially, because
since
conservatism and red pill tend to line up.
I am immune from the blame and shame game. I don't give a fuck about those individuals for the most part. I mean, I appreciate their efforts. But when it comes to like trying to lure people into a system that sees a lot of these men broken and dead, I can't recommend it, and I cannot remain silent. I just can't do it.
It's like, I mean, if you have to get married, like do what I suggested, which is leave the state out of it completely. Like, if you want to get married, you want to have the children, you want to do the family thing, that's totally fine. Leave the state out of it. Do a church marriage certificate. Live together in a state that does not have common law marriage, and you're good to go. Because if things end, then okay, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, then you're done.
Well, my thing is at my age, I can't even do that.
Oh, well, yeah, you're too old for that shit. Marriage is on your Murtaugh list.
No, I'm not even. No,
at this point, dating's on your Murtaugh list.
Well, first of all, I mean, have you seen 50-year-old women? We
don't talk about that here.
Listen, that's why we call them gristle clits.
You cut off the gristle and throw it. Oh, no, we leave that to the Muslims. Ooh, I'm so sorry.
Quite literally, their clit grows up their chest until it's hanging off their chin. So literally, like when I'm talking to these women and they have that whole gristle clit thing going on, I have to do everything in my power to keep myself from doing this.
Did we call that pelican neck once upon a time?
Yes, we did. Pelican.
There's some belching toads and frogs that have the very similar sort of thing. Sometimes, well, they would be more like the one where, like, the double chin actually engorges to the point where it comes out farther than the primary chin.
They can punch you with their second chin,
like the chick on with the clown makeup on the Drew Carey show back in the day. Her second chin was like bigger than her actual chin.
We should come up with a name for that.
Bloated toad syndrome. Yeah.
Glotothrotopotipus?
Glotothrotoswallowpiss? Maybe that explains the swelling.
I don't know. I have to work on a name for that. I think that would be quite hilarious.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh, my Lord.
Anyway, we're way off in the weeds here, but it doesn't mean that we can't divert course and go back.
Listen, man, that's why they come here. They like the banter.
They do like the banter. It's what's going on. I hope you guys missed me. Well, some of you didn't. It's fine, though. What do we got here? We got a video from this here. Let's check this out.
Uh-oh.
Of course, it's going to take us to Twatter or X or whatever this shit you want to call it now.
I don't care.
All right, let's see here.
Conference for females in tech was taken over by male attendees.
They were there just...
Oh, you're just assuming their gender now? Huh? How dare you, bigots?
But this is exactly what's going on. The minute you use their tools against them...
All of a sudden, biology and stuff matters again. Like,
yeah, and it's the same thing. We're doing the same thing with immigration. We're sending all these immigrants to these sanctuary cities.
It's amazing how there's no border crisis until it's no longer at the border and it's in your backyard.
Correct.
Fucking NIMBYists. Let's see what else we got here.
Purely for the career fair.
Social media clips filmed at the Grace Hopper, the world's largest gathering of women technologists, show men standing in line to meet with recruiters.
This is a space for women in tech. This is one of those few limited resources that isn't for you, it's for us.
Some of the male attendees...
What do you mean one of those few? You have more legal rights than we do.
Hang on. All right. I've been noticing this since I was a child.
Wow.
Women have invaded virtually every single male space and destroyed it. Like Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, the corporate boardrooms.
I mean, come on.
Shit. They're insisting that they can play co-ed sports like football.
Please let them. I would.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
You go right ahead. I want to see that 280-pound defensive back just turn you into some road pizza.
Yep. The thing is, I have no sympathy for them because feminists are the ones who kicked the door open for this Marxist drivel. And now, because they are so adamant that the Christian norms that built this country can never be correct, they're never going to try to go back. They are too proud and too stupid to admit that things have gone too far. Yeah. And they would rather die on the fire of their own stupidity than ever admit that the Christians might actually be right.
Well, and another thing is they have to keep pushing these stupid, frivolous fights to keep the funding going.
Yep.
It's all about money.
Oh, yeah. Feminists started with, well, we just want the vote. That's all we want, and then we're going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we want abortion and birth control and all that stuff, and that's all we want, and then we'll go home.
Mm-hmm. And it just keeps going.
Yep. Now they want more than equal rights. They want special privileges, and, in fact, they've had that for decades now, and they just refuse to acknowledge
exactly what affirmative action is.
So what are some of the reactions here from people who actually have a head on their, a brain in their skull? From Zuby Music, I can't believe how bigoted some of the women in this video are. Literally trying to erase these beautiful non-binary folks with an X. Dangerous. Lost Creatives, imagine the screeching if there was a male-only event for recruitment. Sounds like somebody else we know.
Yep.
Rebecca V, devoted reality believer, says this is the future of all women's events.
And you did it to your fucking self.
You did it to yourself. I don't give a shit. I think it's hilarious. Until you start standing up for women and stop insisting that, Transformers can come into the locker rooms and take your Woman of the Year awards. Thank you, Bruce Jenner, for that piece of comedy gold. What was that, 7 years ago now? That was the beginning of it. And now...
here we go.
We're off to the races. So much for the slippery slope being a fallacy, or slope being a fallacy. Slippery slope fallacy. Say that 3 times fast.
I was just going to say, you sounded like a dyslexicist.
I said, I'd like to be hanging out with you too much, man. Just hanging out with you too much. So yeah, dudes, keep it up. Let the mockery commence, and do not ever let them tell you to stop.
Well, I mean, just use the same ammunition they've been using on us for the past 20 years. Blame, shame, and guilt them back.
Exactly. Hey, you wanted equal rights?
Well, now you're going to get some equal lefts.
Equal lefts.
Because men are masters at manipulating, the system to their benefit because they know no one's coming to the rescue except for themselves.
Yeah. The biggest problem with these leftoids is that they are perfectly okay with double standards as long as it benefits them.
Listen.
And then as soon as something like this happens, they want to cry foul, but they genuinely can't without being laughed at.
Listen, if I was a young male today, and with the way the economy and the job market is right now, if I had to just put on my resume non-binary to get a job, I would do it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'd feel absolutely no fucks or any flakes of guilt over it whatsoever.
Yeah, because that's what makes this so hilarious and why it makes perfect sense to me why leftoids never demand proof for anything as long as it conforms with their bias. Because how can anyone prove that they're non-binary?
Yeah.
You can't.
I don't even know what that is. How is that even like? How do you even exercise non-binary sex?
I don't know. Every time I hear one of these fucking idiots who's like, well, I'm non-binary. Oh, okay. Well, then can you explain to me how if I wanted to have gender reassignment surgery, there's only one option?
Yeah.
If you could explain that to me, I'll gladly go home. But you can't.
No, because there isn't 136 different patterns for genitalia.
Yeah, and what's their cope? Well, you can't define woke. Can you?
Well, I can tell you what woke is.
Well, so can I. It's weaponized fake empathy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's fake empathy. Woke is trying to make the world conform to your feelings.
Mm-hmm. It's anti-white.
Yeah.
Unless you're a dude and you like cock, or you're a woman and you like poon, or you insist that you are something that you are not.
Yeah.
But even then, if your political beliefs are wrong, then you're a faker.
Correct.
Even though there's no proof that you are any of these things in the first place, if they decide you're a faker, you're a faker. Even though this is supposed to be about self-image and self-identification, which you are then denying that person's existence by your own woke logic.
Well, you're assuming that these individuals on the left are capable of logic.
Oh, I am not assuming anything.
They
I know
are
they're
not.
not capable of logic.
They are not capable of logic.
Somebody who can actually look me in the face and say unironically that non-binary is a thing is incapable of logic.
Correct.
They're too stupid to live. That's why we turn things over to Darwin.
Well, yeah, maybe at one point they'll be so stupid they forget to breathe.
That would be nice. Fucking oxygen thieves.
100%.
But it's not all bad news. In fact, if you look at the lamestream media, it's practically no news because they're desperately trying to figure out how to spin this shit.
This one actually is really hilarious.
This is comedy gold.
Right here.
The Biden administration is building the wall. Not a joke. They just waived 26 federal laws to make it happen.
Okay, now do you understand the rumor behind why they're doing that?
No, feel free.
Texas is about one cunt hair and a nipple away from dumping the United States.
Yep. Biden administration says there's an immediate need to waive regulations and build a border wall as the migrant crisis spirals out of control.
This has been out of control for a decade.
Yeah. 4 years ago, this was racist, and now they're advocating for
Yes.
it. And 4 years before Trump, Obama was talking about the same shit.
Now, as a retired veteran, if I was to get like a letter in the mail, you know, hey, we need you to show up here to go track down illegal aliens and throw them out of the country,
There you go.
I'd do it.
Yeah, I'd be there.
I mean, I'm not going to kill anyone, but I'll run you down in the supermarket and throw you in a van and take you back to Mexico.
Yep. I love this. So I'm just going to go ahead and call Joe Biden Hitler for this for the remainder of his term, even though he's actually doing the right thing. Oh, but this isn't the funniest part. It's not just that we're literally turning our backs on 8 years of bullshit rhetoric, because now the problem is actually in leftist cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago.
You mean the
Martha's
sanctuary
Vineyard,
cities?
the sanctuary cities, the people who voted for this shit in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, our president wants to try to play both sides of the fence that he's building. Biden says he doesn't believe in border walls after the news broke that his admin is building a border wall and says that he can't stop the construction.
So the dictator in chief. All right, so what's happened? So let's break this down into grunt talk here.
Wow.
Okay, so the dictator in chief, when he was installed, basically took down a bunch of presidential decisions against the immigration that was under Trump. All right, so he did that. And then those cities that have to deal with this migrant flood of bullshit on the southern border started busing these said individuals to sanctuary cities that voted to be sanctuary cities.
Yep.
It's in the name, sanctuary. But now, because feelings don't feed people and shit is not free, they're all upset about it because it's stretching their resources too thin.
Yep. It's almost like we warned you.
Yes. We warned
The thing
you.
is, these are typical leftoids. They are perfectly okay with voting for things that they do not believe will affect them. But as soon as it's in their backyard, all of a sudden they flip the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall, they sent a couple, was it 3 or 4 busloads of immigrants to where's that one island?
Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard.
That's where they filmed Jaws.
And they literally just came unglued.
Yeah, and they had them out of there within like 36 hours.
Yes.
And after it was over, they're like, oh, we feel culturally enriched. Like, bull fucking shit. You treated these people like mosquitoes.
Now, listen.
Hilarious.
I have no problem with people who want to come to this country. I literally don't. As long as they follow the process.
And they do it right.
And when they come here, they have something to contribute. I don't want people coming here who are immediately going to go on WIC welfare and Section 8.
Amen.
I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah. Now, if you want to have a conversation about how cumbersome and bullshit bureaucratic the immigration process into this country is. Some people have been here for like over 10 years, paying taxes, doing everything right. They still haven't gained citizenship. We had that story about the German family who came over here literally to avoid religious persecution. They've been here for over 10 years. They've had children here. Some of their older children are married to citizens here. Oh, we're going to deport you. You're the wrong color.
Yeah.
You're not going to vote Democrat.
Listen, I just think that's a travesty myself.
It is. This is the state of our country now. Yeah, look at it. I love this. Bing! What a piece of shit. I love it. Do you believe the border wall works? No. Then why are you building it? I'm not.
All right.
Well, that's not what I heard.
I mean, we had those. They put those floats in the water to keep people out. And everyone whined and went crazy about that. Now, listen, this is going to sound bad coming from the popster, but I want to see triple concertina, barbed wire the entire length of the border. I want seismic detectors to find out if they're digging tunnels.
Yeah.
All right. If you get caught bringing over fentanyl, you're going right to the front of the line to get the hot shot or the electric chair. I am done. This needs to come to an end. And those drug cartels over in Mexico that are doing their stupid shit.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time 1,000-pound bombs dropped on compounds that were doing stupid shit. And it won't break my heart.
We'll never see that in our lifetime. Our Congress is in bed with all those cartels.
You're right. Well, don't say our lifetime because no one ever knows.
Yeah, no one ever knows. Never say never. But if with things currently as they are, with as corrupt as this bureaucratic Bolshevik bullshit has become, it's not going to happen.
No. Well,
they're too busy circle jerking each other behind the scenes.
Like in the 80s and 90s, that happened a few times, allegedly.
Yep. Allegedly.
Compounds in the middle of the night just evaporated for
Allegedly.
whatever reason.
Yep. I'm just wondering when we're going to start to see all the articles calling Joe Biden a bigot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, where are all those old articles about Joe Biden being Hitler and all that shit?
I'd be interested in how many articles they did about Trump being a bigot because he put up the wall.
Yeah. I love this. Biden on declaring an immediate need for new border wall construction in South Texas. Oh, the money was appropriated for the border wall. I tried to get him to redirect that money. I can't stop that. The buck stops here. Oh, I can't stop that. But of course, leftoids being leftoids, they're not going to hold them accountable. Trump's border wall was never just about security. It's meant to remind all Latinos that we're unwelcome, from Julito 77. Will there be the same article about Biden? Nah, probably not.
Probably not. Listen, if you come here illegally, you are not welcome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I don't care what race, color, creed you are.
That was one of my favorite things to ever come out of AOC's cock holster. Well, just because they're illegal immigrants doesn't mean that they've committed a crime.
Well, what? Illegal alien. Illegal is the root word for breaking the law.
I love it. All of these, different dudes are putting these old publications talking about a border wall being racist on blast since this has come out. And I'm sure most of them are reacting with absolute radio silence. It's not about national security. It's about stoking racial resentment. At Jason Sattler, will you now do a piece on Joe Biden? Whoopsies.
Well, if they won't, we will.
Even Pelosi, border wall is immoral, expensive, and unwise until the illegals come to my neck of the woods and then get them the fuck out. You think I don't have enough trouble? I look like shit, my mind is going, and my husband's having gay hammer sex.
Gay hammer.
Fuck! And I don't get my cushy office anymore.
I am so glad he told her to get the hell out of there.
She's a piece of shit.
Now, first of all, with that whole McCarthy thing, I am glad we were doing that because those rhinos are not Republicans. They're not even conservatives. They're literally hand in hand with the Democrats, which are socialist communists now.
Yeah, it's a uniparty.
Yeah, leading us down a road of destruction.
They're all globalists. They've all got their hands in foreign pockets. That they're glad to send taxpayer money overseas to a shithole like Ukraine and launder it so that they can send it on back. Meanwhile, who gets fucked?
The taxpayer.
Yep. Productive Americans. At this point, I really think that their goal is to just grind us all into the dust to the point where we completely lose hope and give the fuck up.
They want to turn us into China.
Yeah. That's why black pill is not a good thing.
No. Well, I mean, in China, that's what they got going on. Like, literally, you are working 60 hours a week, barely able to feed and clothe your family, if not more. And some of those factories had to put suicide nets around outside the building because people were jumping to their deaths rather than staying and being a slave working in that building.
Yep. Oh, yeah. There was. I think even like a lot of the companies that people are kind of love over here, Apple being one of them, unfortunately. Samsung, tons
Nike,
of forced labor over there.
Adidas.
Nike was one of the first ones to get tagged for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's no good.
So much of our shit is made over there that it's just absolutely criminal.
I mean, think about this. We, raise a ton of livestock here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what is getting done with it? It's getting butchered. And then it's getting sent overseas for processing, where they then send it back. How in the flying fornication is that even an option?
All right.
When you can do that here.
Well, yes, but the thing is, they're paying people in China pennies on the dollar, so they can. The cost is worth it to them.
It's just, I find it completely fucking ridiculous.
It
is
is
the thing. And we have no idea what the hell it is they're doing over there because they have they don't have half of the food regulations, the environmental stuff. They don't have anything over there.
They scoop cooking oil out of the sewer and reuse it. I've seen those videos. It is absolute. I was like nauseous for a day.
And this has been your lump of vomit.
I mean, there's people walk around in China with tuberculosis.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's serious illnesses over there. Cholera breakouts all the time in China. Anthrax.
Yeah, China's a shithole.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I feel really bad for the people who live over there.
I do,
who are bored into this shit.
Well, I do to an extent. Listen, if it gets really bad here, I'm not running away. I mean, I'm going to do what I can to fix it. They should be doing the same thing. If you're not willing to do it, then go fuck yourself.
There are so many of them, they could overrun their own army.
Yes, they could.
All it would take is just enough of them to realize, oh, wait a minute. The super majority of the power that we perceive comes from our cooperation. Well, what if we stop doing that? Oh, we can take our country back? Oh, that seems easy enough.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they don't.
I mean, that's why they want to take away our guns here.
Yeah, because they want us to be subjects.
They want to turn us into subjects and do whatever the hell they want, and we have no recourse.
Yep. And that is why stay strapped. Mm-hmm. Always. You go to a leftoid city, stay strapped. Because, it is hilarious. Earlier on today, that dude who was the 18-year-old kid who stabbed that dude to death for no reason whatsoever.
They caught him.
Yeah, they caught him. The news media blurred out his face, even though he's an adult. Why? Because he's black. Yep. When the dude who accidentally killed the dude on the subway who was trying to cause more issues just like this other 18-year-old kid, they showed his face, no problem.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
close-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, everybody knows his name. He's a household name now.
Yeah, if you're Caucasian, you get caught up in that, guess what? They're literally going to put your name in neon lights.
Yep. But we have privilege, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But with that being said, it's time for some of the thoughtiest thoughts you've ever thought of on Thought Thursday.
Here we go.
This is one of, I will freely admit that this is well written, and it should be, because the author has a doctorate. She's a lawyer and a journalist, which means that as soon as you know that she is an expert in weasel words. She's going to deliberately mislead you while not actually saying anything incriminating or libelous. But she's completely 1,000% full of shit. There we go. This is an opinion piece from CNN by Jill Filipovic. The problem with all this talk about two-parent privilege, this really should have been called, I'm blaming the falling marriage rates on conservatives. Change my mind.
So they're calling having a two-parent household a privilege.
Well, we already know that's bullshit.
First of all...
we know that really it's not a two-parent privilege. It's a father privilege.
Yeah, well,
we know that because of the stream we just did on single dads.
It's not a father privilege. It's a father benefit.
Yeah, father benefit, exactly.
A privilege is something you give someone for whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to get married and stay married, it's not a privilege. Most of the time, it fucking sucks.
It's a lot of hard work to keep it.
Yeah.
If it's worth anything, yeah.
You got to stay with the same snot pocket your entire life. I don't know. I just can't even fathom that now.
It's all good. I mean, just to give you some context for this chick, she wrote a book called Okay Boomer, Let's Talk. How my generation got left behind. Now, does she? If it has to do with how millennials got fucked over by the housing bubble and all the bullshit that went down in 2008, she has a point. But that's about as much as I'm willing to give her.
Well, that whole housing bubble thing was a direct fucking result for the Clintons.
Oh yeah,
with
absolutely.
Everyone should get a mortgage.
But this is her right here. I decided to look her up on Wikipedia just because I was curious. And this really tells you everything that you need to know about her. Originally from Seattle, Filipovic attended Shorewood High School. She earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism and Politics and a minor in Gender and Sexuality Studies.
So that's socialist communist indoctrination.
Exactly.
Okay.
Prior to, and she's got a Juris Doctor from New York University School of Law, so she is a lawyer. Filipovic was hired by Cosmo to write in April of 2014. Prior to that, she was a columnist for The Guardian, a publication that platforms titans of intellect like Jessica Valenti and Charlotte Proudman.
Yeah, I really enjoyed ripping Proudman apart.
Oh, she's made herself even more of a laughing stock by sticking up for Amber Heard.
Yep.
She Amber Hearded her own career with that one. She has written articles and essays for the New York Times, Washington Post, Time, CNN, and has authored 2 books, The H-Spot, The Feminist Pursuit of Happiness, which you're never going to find because you're a feminist, and the OK Boomer book that I already talked about.
Well, there are probably some women out there who can, live the hermit lifestyle, be the boss babe, and be happy.
Very few.
But that is not a majority. It is a rare exception.
It is the exception, not the rule.
It's just like men. Very few men can actually live the life of an actual hermit.
Are we ready for a surgical dissection?
Let's do this.
Of this meat and potatoes propaganda? Here we go. A new book by economist Melissa Kearney makes a readily apparent but still provocative argument. Children raised by 2 married parents do better than children raised by single parents. Objectively true. The difference, Kearney argues, isn't just financial, although the money matters a lot. The two-parent privilege, as her book calls it, is also about parental time investment and familial stability. The problem with the point she makes, and with the firestorm of discussion it's touched off on the left and the right, is that there are many things that are statistically better for us. Name one.
Yeah.
But if those...
First of all, I mean...
Here it is, fatherless generation.
Yeah.
How many times are we going to refer to this in 10 years?
Probably a lot.
We probably referred to this at least 100 times.
Yeah.
63% of youth suicides from fatherless homes. 90% of homeless and runaway children, fatherless homes. 85% of children with behavioral disorders, fatherless homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems, fatherless homes. 14 times the national average. 71% of high school dropouts, fatherless homes. Children with fathers who are involved are 40% less likely to repeat a grade, 70% less likely to drop out of school. They're more likely to get straight A's. They're more likely to enjoy school and engage. And 75% of adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes. So please tell me, what statistics
Is she?
are you actually talking about?
Well, she's not, because this is propaganda.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Amazing. So right away, her first paragraph, complete bupkis. Kearney bills herself as a moderate.
No.
But no, Kearney, the woman she's talking about, not this chick. Her argument is being taken up by a great many conservatives who argue that her findings, which are robustly supported by the data, wow, that sounds like an admission that you are full of shit, demonstrate that liberal mores around family formation have destroyed the nuclear family and left children worse off. Again, objectively true.
It is.
And we have tons of sources to completely destroy this chick.
What about the kids that grow up in the single father home?
Yeah, they do just fine.
I believe that they do not skew as negativity as the single mother home, if I believe.
Yeah. Well, we did the episode on that. I can actually jump back in and grab that source if you like, because it was only like a week or two ago. Yeah, we did a stream called Single Dads Do It Better.
Yep.
Bring that up here, and then you go down here. I'll show you guys the sources here. So if you go to the website, click on the videos page, it'll take you here. Single Dads Do It Better. And then you go down here, single mother statistics, fatherless generation. Here it is, truth about single fathers.
There you go.
And then you open it up, single father households do vastly better than single mother, and here's the real reason why. I mean, you're talking about, it basically says studies have found that children from single mother homes are 5 times more likely to commit suicide than children from unbroken households and single father households.
Yep.
9 times more likely to drop out of school, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, 14 times more likely to commit rapé, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, and 32 times more likely to run away from home. Single mother households also account for 70% of all teen pregnancies, 70% of child murders, and they account for the majority of filicide cases, which means, yes, a child living in a single mother household is the most likely to be murdered by their parent.
Wow.
Once they're out of the womb.
Yes.
We're not even going to talk about that other shit.
Well, that's just genocide right there.
Yeah. Now, if you actually do the comparisons for things like, stable relationships, everything down the road, single father households and 2-parent households are virtually identical.
But here's the thing. They have spent billions of dollars studying the single mother craziness and results of the no-fault divorce generations. They've spent barely any money doing studies for the children of the single father home.
Yeah.
There's a little bit.
Well, they won't do it because they already know the answer.
It's absolutely just devastating.
They are going out of their way to avoid the truth because if more people know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how hard it was for me to find this article.
I know. And the reason, this is just my opinion, but the reason I think children do better in the single father home is simply this. What? Oh, no, that shit ain't true. That's bullshit right there.
Yeah.
The real world works like this.
Whereas single mothers who believe they can do it all by themselves.
No, you can be whatever you want to be. Go ahead. You're the same as a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need no man. You go, girl.
Yeah. Single fathers are more likely to involve female relatives in the course of raising the child. Single mothers are not because they're too proud and stupid. They think that government subsidies, child support, and welfare is all they need. And so while I got the daycare and I got the school, primarily run by women on all counts. So where is the positive male role model? not to be found. Unless, he's sneaking out the back window so he doesn't wake up the kid in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a young kid, the positive role model I had in my life was the sensei.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, man. Just imagine how different your life would have turned out if you had more.
Yeah.
A big problem that a lot of dudes have when trying to select a prospective mate is that they don't realize that we gravitate towards what we felt was normal growing up. So if you grew up in a fucked up household situation, guess what you're going to seek out?
Correct.
If you recognize that about yourself and, nip it in the bud early and recognize that your initial, gut feelings of attraction are probably not going to take you anywhere good, then you can actually work on taking a positive step. Oh,
well said.
The answer, they say, is for liberals to own up to their wrongdoing and for all of us to start promoting marriage. Now, I agree with this part here. The second part here, it's not about promoting marriage. It's about changing the laws that favor only women in divorce.
Well, first of all, promoting marriage. All right. You shouldn't have to promote marriage if it was equitable.
But it's not anymore.
But now you have to sell marriage like snake oil, and I refuse to do that because I'm done burying you sons of bitches because you make stupid dick-thinking decisions.
Yeah, you want to change the laws? You want to bring back fault divorce so people actually have to have skin in the game and a real reason to destroy a fucking family from the ground up? That's a conversation we can have.
Or at
no fault divorce
least,
is dog shit.
You want to get divorced? Fine. But guess what's going to happen? 50-50 custody right off the bat. No child support.
No alimony.
No alimony.
Yep.
Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
If you're so equal to men, figure it the fuck out. That is the same answer I have given to men for, I don't know,
ever.
Since I was roughly 16 years old.
Forever.
And the first time, I remember first time I heard that, it was like 8 or 9. And my mom's like, figure it out. I was all frustrated and upset. And then I had to figure it out. And then it just became normal. I guess I'll just figure it out. Yeah.
You figure it out. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Now we're going to jump back in here. A closer look at the facts on the ground, though. Sure. Shows that the problem isn't a cultural rejection of marriage. Yes, less than 6 people out of 1,000 getting married is totally not a cultural rejection of marriage.
It's 5.1. All right. It's 5.1 out of 1,000. My heart breaks for that 0.1 quadriplegic that they wheel in to make him get married.
Yep. Or, she says, a nationwide feminist rejection of the nuclear family. I wish. Oh, is she claiming that doesn't happen? Too bad, so sad, because I have receipts.
Yep.
And she flat out says, after talking about the feminist rejection of the nuclear family, she puts in parentheses, I wish.
Not biased at all.
Yeah. Jill, you're a disgusting piece of shit. You can quote me on that.
Yeah.
Most people want to get married, she says. Only problem is the articles that the studies and articles that she links to it don't say that.
Yep.
Like the Pew Research Center here, share of adults who have lived with a romantic partner is now higher than the share who have ever been married. Married adults are more satisfied with their relationships and more trusting of their partners. Okay, well, I go down here and I'm looking at all the charts.
Mm-hmm.
A percentage of adults saying it's acceptable for an unmarried couple to live together. Yeah, 69% say yes, even if they don't plan to get married. Better off if couples who want to stay together long-term eventually get married, 53%. That doesn't mean that most people want to get married.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it may or may not be true.
Well, first of all,
but if you're going to link sources,
well, whenever you see that stat 4653,
that's statistical noise.
Yeah, I mean, the margin of error wipes that out. So
it does.
It's basically 50-50.
Just like the divorce rate.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing at that. I mean, she very well may be correct. But if you're going to hyperlink sources into your so-called argument, you might want to make sure that the sources actually say what you say they are saying.
But the reason you do that is if you tell the truth. If you're pushing a lie or propaganda,
Which she clearly is.
Which you clearly are, you send your sources, which are smoke and mirrors.
Yep. And this is where she goes completely off the cliff.
Here we go.
The problem is that decades of largely conservative policymaking have fueled inequality, gutting the working class, left a generation of men isolated and underemployed and unmoored, impoverished families, and made it harder for women to both control their own fertility and find suitable partners.
All right, so that what she says there about controlling their own fertility, that is absolute bullshit.
It is.
I believe they're trying. What are they forcing us to actually give women birth control for free?
Literally, women can't control their fertility. They can dumb it with pharmaceutical meds that may eventually sterilize them.
What? No. Well, I consider that a form of control.
It is a form of control, but really, you're just tricking your body into thinking that it's pregnant.
You are, but the thing is she's making a statement that because women can't control their own fertility, it's somehow damaging.
Yeah, women have all the reproductive rights. Men
Yeah.
have none.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. They have the AAA option: abandon, abort, or adopt.
Yep.
Then all we have is run or pay. That's it.
Yep. And I find it hilarious that she's trying to basically pin this entire situation on conservatives when it's really the Democrats now who are the party of the wealthy, confirmed by IRS data.
Yes.
And we know this to be a fact just because we actually have eyes and we pay attention to numbers like inflation.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Like that.
It's oh man, I love how she tried to say it's conservatives. No, that is a uniparty thing.
Yes.
Actual conservatives on the ground are the ones championing marriage for the most part, because we tend to lean more traditionalistic in our views.
Now,
those of us who have not been rigged through the coals,
yeah,
that is.
I was just going to say that. I am an avid conservative. I would say I'm middle of the road conservative.
Yeah, I'm more libertarian
But
myself.
I cannot recommend anyone get married.
I don't.
It is such a beat down shit show.
Here we go. Our cultural respect for marriage hasn't receded. What's changed is that Americans feel like we should be adults before we get married, that we should be financially stable, that we should marry someone we love and who is also a force for stability and support. And for too many people, heterosexual women especially, that very basic standard isn't being met by the men around them.
All right, so it's a man's fault for not stepping up and becoming the crown prince. Yeah, shut up.
Woo!
This infuriates me. You want these men to graduate high school, all right, do something super athletic, be 6 feet tall, have a six-pack, a rack of abs, maybe a 6-inch plus tool below, and a six-figure income. That is that is so hard to do for the average person. That only 5% of the population actually gets to that level.
Yep.
And if a man is willing to put in that kind of work, what is his reward at the end for that work? A size 18 drama queen who will divorce him, take all his shit and his kids away, and then be turned into a slave by the very laws of the country in which he lives. Fuck off with that bullshit.
Amen to that. And this is actually a really good point, too. Sean St. George decided to shout out Tim Roble in his comment. When you quit your job, do you expect to keep receiving a paycheck from them?
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what women expect in divorce.
Yeah, they want that permanent Allison isn't horny anymore money.
Yep. So now we've gone from blaming conservatives to blaming men, specifically male conservatives, despite the fact that there are so many women out there who, over half of the women now who have reached the age of 35 are never married and childless.
Correct.
And what do they wind up eventually doing? They flip their script. They pretend to be based in red-pilled so that they can attract a conservative man. Why? Because leftoid men are the ones you're talking about.
No, you forgot the church angle.
And of course, I got to go back to church. Only God can judge me. You're a whore.
Yeah, you go back to church. Yeah, one of the main reasons I haven't gone back to church is
you know what you're going to find.
as soon as I walk in there, They're going to try to set me up with like these single mothers, and I'm
Yep.
not having it. I am not raising another man's child.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing it.
Yeah, I heard recently about a one of those gospel churches, largely black congregation. This dude decided to ask all the single mothers to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, "You single men need to wife up these single mothers." Over a dozen dudes in that congregation walked out.
Yep.
Because, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. No, I'm not. It's so much drama. It's not worth it. Fuck it. And like the marriage contract, I mean, any contract benefits both parties.
That's how it's supposed to be. A contract is supposed to cover your ass and my ass.
Yes. And you benefit when you come together.
Yeah.
Now, because of all the laws and craziness, there is no upside for a dude to get married at all.
Sorry, but if you're going to change, if you're going to make it as easy as sneezing to destroy a family and rake a dude over the coals, you can't be surprised when dudes walk off the lot.
Yeah. The only smart move is not to play the rigged game.
Yep. And now, of course, we can see that the pressure of that system that they weaponized against men is starting to finally, like, the heat is getting turned up because we're not replacing ourselves.
No, we're not.
And they know it's their fault. But instead of just accepting that big government was the problem, they got to blame the guys who actually want smaller government. Because that makes sense.
Listen, I had a dream a couple months back that I actually had to go testify in front of the Congress.
Oh, that's a good time.
Because I'm a red pill, guy who spent over a decade making these videos.
Yeah.
And I just ripped them apart.
It would be great. I would love to see that for real.
Oh, yeah.
And the GOP is at least partly to blame. All right, let's say I play your game for just 1 second. Explain this. The U.S. just added $275 billion to debt in one day this
fucking
week.
Day.
And it is on track to jump $1 trillion in 1 month. Who's in control of the Senate and the White House?
Mm-hmm.
You can fuck off.
That's right.
How many illegal immigrants have entered the U.S. under Joe Biden, who are taking the jobs away from the same men that you claim are being ostracized by a system that was created by conservatives? 5.1 million, with records being broken every single month.
This is not going to
Sure.
go well.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and keep blaming the people who are not responsible. We'll see how well that does for you. Oh, it only gets worse from here. The decline of marriage, she says, in the United States crosses class lines, but is far more pronounced among Americans without college degrees. College-educated Americans, though on average more politically progressive, continue to form their families in traditional ways. First marriage, then babies, and you're forgetting the third part. They're more likely to get divorced.
That's right.
They get married later than their working-class peers. They have children later. They are more likely to stay married for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, like you click on all these hyperlinks and you go into the details of where she gets this stuff from. They're more likely to stay married within a specific time
10
window.
years.
And then after that,
Done.
sorry.
Yeah. I think normally marriages end within 7 years. If you are married to, in the upper levels,
7-year itch. Yeah.
it's like 10 years to 11 years.
7, 13, 21, 24.
Yeah. You can't escape that. 7, 13, 21, 24. I mean,
Yeah. And these so-called progressive women are far more likely to file for divorce than traditional women.
yeah, and like everyone watching this show, when you hear your friends getting divorced, just ask a simple question. Hey, how long were you married? Oh, it started falling apart in like 6 years. You didn't make it past the first review.
Oops.
It happens. Now, if you stay married to a woman for 24 years plus and then you get divorced, show her no mercy
Yeah.
because it's a life and death thing now.
There you go. Among poor American adults aged 18 to 55, just 26% are married. It's a very interesting window that she picked there, compared to more than half of middle and upper class adults, according to a 2017 research brief. It's interesting because the middle and upper classes now are very different than they used to be thanks to Bidenomics.
Click on that link. Where's it go?
Let's take a look.
Oh,
okay. Loading. The marriage divide. How and why working class families are more fragile today. Well, it could be because working class families, especially if they're on the poorer side, they might be more likely to vote Democrat.
yeah. And
Just
like
a thought.
most women, like the average wage for a man is, I think, $45,000 to $55,000.
Just to boot.
You talk to the average woman, they're like, "That's not enough money."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you just priced yourself out of the market. Shut up.
There you go. And another thing, too, is that if you are that poor, can you afford a wedding? Probably not. You're probably living paycheck to paycheck trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from. Especially now, thanks to Bidenomics. People taking out whole lines of credit just to pay for groceries. Having a child outside of marriage has taken a similar course, more common across classes than it was a few decades ago, but much more common among poorer Americans and those with the lowest levels of education. Very true. One Johns Hopkins sociologist found that between 2017 and 2018, 24.5% of college-educated women were unmarried when they birthed their first child, a radical increase from 1996 when just 4% were unmarried. And who is championing these single mothers?
Correct. That would be
And insisting on more welfare and handouts for them.
the feminist farmers.
It's not the conservatives.
Nope.
But we're in the logic damning portion of this. I'm going to throw a whole bunch of statistics at you so you have to believe me. And look, I hyperlinked them all. Just don't read them.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Well, the average person is not going to open every hyperlink.
No, they're not.
I personally don't believe shit.
No, when it comes from a woman like this who has a clear political axe to grind and her career shows that she's just a raging propagandist.
Well, I don't really believe shit from anyone.
No.
I do. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty egregious. I better look into that.
A little bit. But among Americans with less education, the results are even more startling.
Oh, here we go.
And this is where a big part of the problem starts to come in. You're going to love this. Between 2017 and 2018, 86.5% of women without a high school degree gave birth while unmarried, as did more than 60% of those with a high school diploma. The numbers also reflect stark inequities among racial lines. Close to 3/4 of black mothers have a child outside of marriage, compared with 66% of American Indian Native Alaskans, 53% of Hispanics, 29% of whites, and 17% of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders.
And when you look at the income levels,
They're parallel.
but the thing is the Asians are on the top strata of income
Exactly.
because they don't. You want to be poor.
Only
for the rest of your
17% of
life,
them are single moms.
You have a kid out of wedlock.
Yep.
I mean, chances you getting like into the upper middle class after you have a kid out of wedlock, it is an arduous journey, and most people can't do it.
Yep. Extramarital births are also generally more common in the conservative states that also ban abortion. That I actually need to see a freaking stat on.
I don't know
Let's see if this actually proves what it is she's claiming it proves. Percentage of births to unmarried mothers by state. Gee, I'm actually seeing that a lot of these states, we're just going to ignore the fact that California, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all of these leftoid states, Missouri, I mean, yeah, some of these down here are red, but it's pretty damn equally spread out.
Pretty much.
Hilarious.
Smoke and mirrors.
They also pay a low minimum wage and have higher rates of child poverty, uninsured children, and maternal and infant mortality. So what you're saying is conservative states have less government interference in their everyday lives.
And things work out.
And things are, they tend to be okay. More children are actually born than get terminated in the womb.
And listen, that number they have for the abortions, I don't believe that number. It's much higher.
Yeah. It is the most dangerous place for a young black child to be is in its mother's womb.
Yep.
Amazing. The women who are living the feminist dream, on the other hand, we know exactly where that goes.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop!
Yeah, we know exactly where the feminist dream takes you. who graduate from college, who wait to find love before getting married, who delay childbearing and focus on their careers, and who largely vote for Democrats, have lower rates of single parenthood and higher rates of marriage. Don't you love how there's no source for lower rates of single parenthood?
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to make, blanket generalizations like this.
At least have some stats.
Yeah, they also have fewer children and have them later, but their children wind up better off. The ones that aren't down with the syndrome or born with autism because they're being born from spoiled eggs.
Well, first of all, it doesn't matter what economic strata you're in. If you have a mother and father, the children will always do better.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's hilarious.
Money is, money is not the main thing.
No, it's not. But, or should I say, according to the feminist dream, it is. The feminist dream is to have all the money in the world, stick it in your ears, and go, all while a man pays all your bills and your money's your money, right?
Well, yeah, not only that, the men pay your bills, but the man, builds your house, your car, maintains the infrastructure you live in, keeps the phone on, builds all of your appliances, make sure water and sewage come in and out of your house. I mean, come on, shut up.
Another thing that I wanted to point out, too, about the whole, because she keeps bringing up college and education, right? Because feminists love to claim that they are smarter than you, they're more intellectual than you because they went to college, the Marxist Indoctrination Center. And that's where you get articles like this one. Doomed to marry beneath them?
Here we go.
Marriage and the gender gap in college education. And later on in this article, she specifically mentions marriageable men. So we're just going to completely ignore the role that women play in the dating market that they control lock, stock, and barrel.
Well, and they're so goddamn picky.
Yep.
Like, these women who become successful literally are cutting their own throats.
Yeah, because they insist on dating above themselves.
Yeah.
They want the CEO. Correct. If they're the secretary, they want the manager. If they're the manager, they want the CEO.
Well, let's just put this into perspective. All right. So years ago, right after my divorce, I was dating a doctor, female doctor, and she was an obstetrician. 38. And every time I would mention, you're getting kind of long in the tooth to have kids, she would get lividly upset, despite the fact that she's a fucking medical doctor and she knows the drill.
Yep.
Like, literally, she's caught in her own vapor lock brain.
Yep.
That she can't see reality. And then every day she goes to work and tells people what the reality of the situation is. It's insane.
And again, I mean, it's what's funny is that she's all about the feminism, but she is completely ignoring women's role in this entire process. Well, the fact that they are picky, that if they do go to school for longer, of course they're going to have higher rates of marriage because as soon as they graduate, they realize, oh, shit.
I'm out of time.
I've done the graduate school thing. I'm 27. If I want to have a kid before I'm 30, I need to get married like now.
That's right.
And that's exactly what most of them do. They get the baby rabies.
Yeah,
hilarious.
That's an actual thing, too.
Yep. And what's funny is that she talks about the children being better off. Guess what the source for that claim is? For most highly educated women, motherhood doesn't start until the 30s. What the fuck does that have to do with the children being better off?
It has nothing.
Exactly. In other words, this doesn't seem to be about liberal or feminist ideals, but about conservative policies. Okay,
what?
How? She has not proven a single thing other than listing a whole bunch of statistics, oftentimes erroneously.
Well, then they don't apply to the premise of what she's writing about.
Exactly.
Man, I've been hanging out with you too long.
At the heart of the marriage gap between socioeconomic classes, men. Oh, yeah, now it's all our fault again. Here we go. In the highly educated communities where men are more likely to be gainfully employed and living independently, and where they are more progressive than their working class counterparts, and less likely to be incarcerated, formally incarcerated, or hobbled by substance abuse and mental health disorders. So you're talking about men who are raised with a father in the home? Oh. Sorry. Not sorry.
Well, Well, unfortunately, that's just going to get worse and worse moving forward.
She's literally talking about the product of two-parent homes.
Yes, she is. Well, here's the thing.
She's not going to admit that, of course.
If they succeed and they completely destroy the family, there will be no marriageable men.
Exactly.
Or very, very limited number.
Well, in their minds already, because they're stupid, they already think there are no marriageable men.
Well,
because they want to wait until 35 to start looking for them. But then the marriageable men who are in the age bracket they're looking for, they're done getting rejected by the chicks who are their age. They're going for the women who are younger because they can.
Well, one, they can, and two, what these women are basically proving that they've been indocked.
Oh, yeah.
They've totally been brainwashed by the school systems to believe this hogwash that they can wait to have kids.
Kind of like the woman who wrote this article.
Yeah, when I was stationed in New York State, a buddy of mine, I used to hang out at his house. The neighbors had to do that IVF or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
$90,000.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on that IVF shit called Last Bitch Effort. Check that one out.
And literally, at the last try, finally, she got pregnant with 2 kids, and then they called it quits. But she was 42.
Wow.
All right, and the way it was explained to me when I heard the whole process was it was physically just absolutely punishing on her.
Yep.
It was incredibly expensive. Every time it failed, it was absolutely heart-wrenching. And their marriage almost didn't survive it. If she did not have those kids, they would have got divorced. So here's the shortcut. Have your fucking kids before you turn 30, you dumb witches.
Exactly.
God, it's not that hard.
Stop fighting biology
Yes.
and then writing articles like this trying to blame everybody else for your decisions, because whether this woman realizes it or not, she is about to admit that the real problem here is women trying to punch above their weight.
Yeah, it is.
Because she's stupid. Oh, here we go. In lower income and working class communities, men have been decimated by deaths of despair, underemployment, and mass incarceration. Mass incarceration disproportionately affects black men, who commit more than half of the violent crime.
Yes, they do.
Far more than white men, because white men are more likely to have a father at home.
And here's another thing.
Stop destroying the black community with your leftoid policies, and maybe it'll actually come back strong like it used to be.
If you actually back out the Hispanic crime rates out of the Caucasian
It's not
list,
even close.
It's not even fucking close.
And they're desperate to try to stack those statistics in any way they can, to the point where they're actually tagging black offenders as white just to try and do that. If you guys haven't heard about that going on at the sex offender registries, you should look into it. It's really funny. Well, at least it would be if it wasn't so catastrophically scary and damaging.
Yeah.
Here we go. Research shows that across racial lines, incarceration sets people up for far lower earnings and dimmer employment prospects, making them poor. But this is more of that logic damning shit.
It is. Well,
none of this is because of conservative policies, mind you.
If you're a convicted felon, I'm sorry, it's really hard to find a rewarding, decent job with good benefits.
Yep. And I mean, we know that some more single mothers will vote Democrat. Women in general, 70% of them vote for Democrats. We have the thing on this, and she's talking about criminal thing, and she's actually, if she's bringing this up as part of her problem with the GOP and saying that their policies are responsible for putting these dudes behind bars, explain this. Lock the SOBs up. Joe Biden in the era of mass incarceration. He wrote, or had a hand in, most of the laws that put people in prison for nonviolent crimes for life.
He's the architect behind those laws in regards to crack cocaine.
Yes, he is.
Like, if it was powdered cocaine, those punishments were not nearly as egregious if you were caught with the same weight of crack cocaine.
Yep.
He's responsible for that.
Exactly.
And there are speeches on YouTube of him talking about this bullshit.
Yeah. So much for conservative policies being
I have
a problem.
no idea, what the hell's wrong with that guy. But
Now, you want to blame like the no-fault divorce thing on Reagan? I'll hear you out on that.
Yeah, well, I do.
So, yeah, you want to throw that in there? Absolutely.
Well, 'cause it's true.
But we have to keep in mind, too, that in the latter half, in his second term in general, he wasn't all there.
What, Reagan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was.
He wasn't as bad as Biden is.
No, his last 2 years, he was cooked in his books.
Exactly.
And you know how I know
So
that?
it may not even be on him.
Well, the thing is I know they're retired now, but I knew the guys who were Secret Service agents for Reagan.
Oh, yeah?
And then, for the Clintons, the murdering bastards that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally know over 50 people who've committed suicide.
It's I think they're in the 90s.
It's probably more than that, yeah. Yeah, those are just the ones we know about. Women, on the other hand, have been doing better. Oh, women are now more likely to be employed than ever. They're making more money and are more financially independent. And now here comes but we're still oppressed, I promise you. Occupational segregation and stark gender pay gaps persist.
All right.
No, they don't.
First of all of that shit has been debunked more times than goddamn Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
Well, shit, man. The S&P 500 or whatever the hell it is, they were bragging just recently about hiring only 6% white staff in the last year. All right? That's not, again, we're not talking about a conservative policy. That is wokeism, leftoid bullshit.
And we need to generate some serious lawsuits over that.
Yep. But far fewer women than ever need to attach themselves to a man in order to make rent and feed their families. Oh, congratulations, you're an average adult. Oh, I'm sorry, strong and independent. I forgot. Stunning and brave. In struggling communities, there are simply not enough marriageable men to go around. And there's the problem right there.
Marriageable men.
It's all our fault, even though women are included in affirmative action. They're drastically overrepresented at the collegiate level. And now we're not hiring white dudes who are actually qualified for positions because mud diversity and ESG scores.
Yeah.
They're deliberately tanking the so-called market of marriageable men. And you want to blame us for it?
But also they're not taking into account there's a lot of marriageable men out there who don't want to get married and never will.
Exactly.
They know the deal, they know the game, and more men are waking up every single day because of channels like ours and more MGTOW red pill channels.
Better Bachelor, guys like him, yeah.
Yeah, God bless that dude.
What's hilarious is that you don't even have to go through and dissect this article the way that we have to know it's bullshit. All you have to do is go onto TikTok and search hashtag dating over 30.
It's beautiful.
And it's a thing of beauty. They're all the good men. There's no marriageable men. All the men they're just crap. No. Those men are where you left them in your 20s.
Correct.
And they have grown beyond you. They're better than you, and they're dating younger than you. You can't stand it, can you?
Well, and it gets really bad for women, I think, between 40 and 46.
Yeah. I think the worst year for depression for the average person is when they're 47. So that lines up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is like when a woman crosses over 38, 40, she still remembers how attractive she was in her 20s, but now she's literally becoming invisible.
Yeah. Well, because, we've talked about this before, the retro tread vision that men have for the women that they truly love. If you meet a woman when she's like 20, you have her during her best years, it doesn't matter how much she balloons up after having a couple of your kids, what have you. You are always going to remember her as that hot little 20-year-old that you fell in love with.
Yeah, and you cannot replicate that when you get older.
Yeah. Women see themselves the same way, unfortunately, when they're single and lonely and wondering why no one wants to date them.
Like if I'm going to hang out with a woman in her 40s, she better be on point.
Yeah, these women in their 40s still think they're 23.
They're not.
And they want dating to go back to being what it was when they were 23, when they were in control of the dating market. When they're 43, they're not in control anymore. Men are. And that's not fair.
They played themselves.
Yeah.
Like listen, they can get mad all they want, but they better look in the mirror because they're the ones that did it.
They did. Women did this to themselves. This isn't a conservative thing. Okay? You can make an argument. Globalism, uniparty, fuck yeah. They're the ones who wrote these laws and completely destroyed the nuclear family because that was the goal.
Yep.
They made marriage unattractive because they don't want you to get married. In that respect, I understand why people want to champion it and push it, because it would be a return to traditional values. The problem is the laws don't line up with that value anymore.
No, they don't. When you can actually prove that a child is not yours in court scientifically,
and they still make you pay
and
child
they still
support.
make you pay, they literally turned you into a fucking slave.
Yep. Why do you think Joe Biden's on vacation all the time? Violating your constitutional rights is fucking exhausting. Just look at actually try to contact people during their so-called office hours at the Wayne County Courthouse and see how far you get.
Oh, yeah. When I was a process server, I hated going to Wayne County because they're so incompetent.
They're assholes. Not enough men who are gainfully employed, living independently, and willing to pull their own weight around the home. You want to know why? And we've talked about this before. Men who so-called pull their own weight around the home, in addition to working harder than women to pay for it, are more likely to get divorced.
Correct.
The more domesticated chores a man does in his own home, if he is married, the more likely it is he is going to get divorced.
Yeah, here's another thing, too. I think one of the main reasons is when a man falls into that, falls out of frame, women start to lose respect for you.
Yeah.
Like, when you meet a woman and then she keeps trying to change you, and then sooner or later she succeeds, then she's no longer attracted because you're not the same man she married.
Yeah.
So stay on your frame. There is no benefit to coming off your frame.
Exactly. A lot of women understand they may never get married, but may not want to give up the prospect of being a mother. And many may want to delay childbearing until marriage, but find themselves off course when they become accidentally pregnant. And then when they do what anti-abortion Republicans want and have their babies, find themselves unsupported and stigmatized by those same conservatives. You want to know why? Because we believe in accountability.
That's exactly what it is.
If you are stupid enough to have unprotected sex with no birth control and you get knocked up, guess what? I am pro-choice because you made it already.
Yep.
That thing in your belly that's growing and becoming its own person, it's already another human being. It's got its own blood type. It's got its own DNA. It's not your body. It's the baby's body. And you made the choice to create it. You don't get to murder it just because it's inconvenient. Fuck off.
They actually, they do that in droves.
Yo, I know. And I love how they try to say, well, Planned Parenthood isn't meant to target the black community. Yes, it is. That's deliberate. That's exactly why it was created. Most Planned Parenthood businesses are in urban areas for a reason. Yeah. And that's why she can say that most single mothers come from red states that prevent this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, because take a look at this.
Well, here's another thing.
These are in leftoid states.
I believe they actually, the woman that came up with, was it a woman that did the Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
And they actually looked at a bunch of her notes.
She was a complete eugenicist racist.
That's exactly right.
And it's hilarious because now if you bring that up about Planned Parenthood, you're the bigot. Wow. It really takes some mental gymnastics to bend yourself into that logic pretzel.
Well, but what you're failing to realize is the left blames, shames, and guilts you into silence.
Why would I fail to realize that? I work with you.
Yeah.
I know that more than anybody.
Yeah, I know stuff now. I hate you. Like, why? Because I know things now.
Well, the thing is, if you cannot defend your argument, the only option you have is deliberately misrepresenting your opposition, blame, shame, guilt, and strawmanning. Those are your options. And that's why they have to misrepresent the argument that keeps pornography out of schools by calling it book banning. It's not book banning, you fucking groomers. We're trying to protect our children, something that you used to be on board with until you decided fucking them was more fun.
Oh, yeah, that is just, oh, my Lord.
There's no easy solution to the surge in births outside of marriage, nor to the fact that children of single parents. Well, actually, there is an easy solution. No more welfare.
Yeah.
Or put a 7-year cap on it. Total for every person.
I am for the 7-year cap.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for the 7-year cap.
Yeah,
but
you know,
people need help from time to time. I'm totally cool
and
with
that's
that.
totally fine. But these women who will literally just, they're baby and felony factories, they're just churning them out because they want to live off the state. Fuck them.
Well, and we did that show, System Surfers.
Yes, we did.
Like literally a woman, when she can start dropping kids at 16, work part-time so it doesn't interfere with her benefits. By the time she gets to 60, she will out-earn a man who graduated high school almost 2-to-1.
Yep. But because that those funds are not taxed as income, we can still pretend that single mothers live unfairly in poverty, even though most of them are single mothers by choice.
Yeah, listen, there's women out there who get 30, 40 grand in child support and 10 or 12 grand in alimony, and then on the books they make about 18 grand, and everyone's like, "Oh, you live in
Oh my
God," when they really aren't.
Yeah, never mind the child support, never mind the WIC, the food stamps, all that shit. Yeah, never mind any of that. Everybody else gets taxed for that so that you can have it. Mm-hmm. Isn't that nice how that works? Oh, no, this one really cracks me up. It's about to get really fucking funny because this is easily debunked. The funny thing is, like, you have to debunk things that think they're debunking other shit because this woman clearly, she knows how to do research, but her research is in cherry picking. So there are certainly many policy solutions that could shrink this gap. An expanded child tax credit, for example, cut child poverty in America by nearly half.
So more taxes.
Here we go. No. But then Republican lawmakers refused to extend it and child poverty rates surged back up. I'm going to explain exactly why that happened. The expanded child tax credit was a gift from Donald Trump. And it was part of his tax reform that actually benefited the middle and working classes. It was axed by Republicans and primarily Democrats who are part of the Uniparty because they don't want tax relief for the lower and middle classes. Sorry, but you are wronger than two boys fucking again.
In church.
Easily accessible, affordable, and legal abortion and contraception would allow women to plan their families. They already have all that.
They have all that. A lot of them get it for free.
Yep. Republicans, though, are on an abortion ban tear. Abortion is murder.
Well, first of all, at the numbers they're doing that, it's genocide.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, they're doing the same thing they always do. They argue the ends of the bell curve for the people in the middle of the bell curve.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. There are people out there who have, pregnancies that need to get terminated.
Yeah. And the abortion ban tear thing, again, you're talking about the far end of the bell curve.
Yes.
Very few conservatives are actually pushing for that.
No. And a lot of the states, they still allow abortion up to like 8 weeks.
To 6 or 8 weeks.
Now, if you don't know that you got a bun in the oven by the end of 6 weeks, you are fucking up by the numbers.
If you have to wait until 8 months and 28 days to figure out whether or not you're ready to be a parent, you should have just kept your legs shut. Give the kid away. Put it up for adoption. Yeah. You don't get to tear it apart into fucking pieces. Yeah. Feel pain.
Murder is in the air along with these women's legs.
Yeah. I love how this is the moral stance she's choosing to take.
Yeah.
A universal child care scheme would help single parents to work and would in turn raise their household incomes. Republicans oppose it. Why? Because that means a drastic increase in taxes.
Correct. Why do we have to pay for your kid to get watched at a daycare place because you can't keep your legs together? Shut the hell up. I'm sick of this bullshit.
Leftists are notorious for this stuff. Well, universal health care is a great idea. Well, that requires a 25% tax increase. Oh, I don't want that. Exactly.
If you really want to see
pitching
universal health care, go to Canada. Go get treated at the VA. That's a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah, I go in there 3 or
Amazing.
4 times a year and have to deal with their insanity.
Yep. This stupid bitch's solution is literally just bigger government everything. A higher minimum wage would put more money in the pockets of families who need it. No, it wouldn't. You would drive up the costs of goods, drive up the costs of everything to where it doesn't even matter.
Here's another thing. With this minimum wage bullshit that they push in some of these states, there are fast food businesses that are automating or shutting down because they can't afford the labor costs.
And now California Stan wants to double down on stupid because $15 an hour wasn't enough anymore. Now they want a $20 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Every single state that has a high minimum wage tanks its own economy.
Yeah.
100% of the time. There is no exception.
Well, the way the free market works is you have to allow the market to be free.
Yeah.
If you put constraints on it, it's going to fail.
If you're regulating it, it's not a free market anymore now, is it? As unions currently fight for workers' rights and better treatment. Bullshit!
No, most of the unions out there were pushing the vax mandate on the people in the unions.
Yeah, they want 6-figure salaries for pushing buttons like monkeys. Kind of like me. The most prominent Democrats are standing in solidarity with them. Yeah, because you want to know how much fucking money unions give to the Democratic Party every year?
A lot of money.
It's really hilarious when they try to say that the gun lobby is the problem, but the union lobby outspends the gun lobby like 100 to 1.
Yeah, and listen, the police unions, the reason cops out there are so shitty is these police unions, protect the dirty, nasty cops.
Yep.
They need to stop doing that. It's going to blow up in our faces down the road.
You want to see how Joe Biden stands with workers?
Sure.
Well, he has to rush to talk to the UAW workers because Trump beat him to it. It's like, well, and of course, they're not talking about the fact that Trump reached out to them first. Well, Biden beat Trump there by a full 24 hours. Yeah, because Trump had already reached out to them and he's being witch hunted into a fucking oblivion, but he still reached out to them first. He completely scooped them. They're not focusing on that, though.
No.
And then, of course, there's East Palestine, which Biden still insists that he's too busy to visit, despite the fact that he's spent a full third of his presidency on vacation.
Correct. And that whole East Palestine thing, that is a horrible travesty that has been swept under the rug.
Yeah, they're not even talking about it anymore.
It is the equivalent of an NBC chemical fucking attack on our home soil.
You're damn right.
My heart breaks for those people.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We're almost to the very end here. And the blame and shame is about to come fast and fierce.
Here we go.
Democrats have tried valiantly to increase the number of kids who are insured and can get health care, and Republicans have opposed them because what you're advocating for is not insuring kids with health care. You're advocating for a huge fucking tax on people who actually work to produce things and then giving it to people who are lazy.
And don't want to work. Or they're poor because they made bad decisions.
Exactly. Lecturing women to get married before they have babies and then shaming single moms isn't working. What does work to help families and kids? Giving women and men alike the ability to marry into mutually stable, supportive, and financially viable relationships while also supporting all children, regardless of who their parents are. Yeah, we used to do that back when we were a Christian nation, but people like you weren't happy with that. You saw marriage as oppression.
Yep.
You saw women not having to work while a man went out and busted his ass to the point of like killing himself, sometimes literally. You saw that as being a prisoner in your own home because you're stupid.
Hang on. All right. Now, if you go to Detroit in some of those older houses, you ever notice that there's a toilet in the basement by like the slop sink?
Yeah.
That exists because back in the day, men would come home from work. They were so grimy and dirty, they had to go into the basement to clean themselves off just to interact with their family later on.
Yep.
All right. Women, they want all the cushy jobs. They don't have to do any of that stuff. And you could tell by the way they're fucking thinking right here.
Yeah.
They have lost touch with reality.
Yeah. It's all men's fault and conservatives' fault. It can't be my political leanings and my own entitled bitchiness that are the problem.
Oh, no, we can't have entitled bitchiness taken.
Yeah. Women totally don't want to marry up. So the more educated and the more money they make, that's going to become more and more of a problem, especially because they literally have to displace men in order to do that. They're always telling us, you need to just step aside. Well, why can't you just earn it on your own?
Yeah. Why do you need me to help you? If we're equal, you just outperform me.
Exactly.
And then you win fair and square.
And then, of course, she ends it with this nugget of wisdom here. In America, we don't do that, not because of liberals and feminists, but because of self-styled pro-family conservatives and their home in the Republican Party.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you're brainwashing the hundreds of thousands of dollars in brainwashing you paid for really did the job.
It's completely obvious.
This woman is so far up her own ass, I'm pretty sure she found the first dude who came in her in there.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm just saying.
Well, we better get to the super chats. We're way behind the power.
Oh, man, this was just such a bad one. We had to really break it down.
I got you.
But, yeah, it is 9:35. We got 527 with only 272 likes. Dudes, get on it. Come on. Rumblies and the Tumblies got 589 and climbing.
All right.
Gotta love to see that. 43 on Odyssey. We got 73 on MGTOW.tv. DLive is rocking 22. Twitch has 10. I'm going to do a quick reload over here on Kick because for some reason it does not populate without me doing that. 5 viewers over there. Standard Red is here. Well, glad to see you, sir. All right, we're going to read some chats here. Then we're going to read some stories when we jump on over to New Tech here. We got Shadow Tempest says, hey, Pop, I emailed my story to you to read called The Grunt's Redemption, with today's date telling my story of how I used your teachings to save my life.
Oh.
We're going to read that on New Tech for sure. Thank you very
right.
much. Maybe have a 532. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Candy Graham for Mongo says, it is my privilege to extend a $5 laurel and a hearty handshake to my new favorite content creators. I love you guys, but definitely not in a gay way.
Good. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, just like a harsh shit makes me sit uncomfortable for a while, so I don't need those kind of friends. Go suck a dick with your butthole. Candy Graham for Mongo. Speaking of butts, rest in peace, Dick Butkus. That is a very unfortunate name for such a powerful athlete. Didn't Sylvester Stallone's dog was Butkus? Hey, Butkus!
Dick Butkus. He's
Dick
an
Butkus.
actual person?
Yes.
He's dead?
Yes.
Of what?
I don't even remember exactly. I saw it come up on my phone earlier. He was a football player, I believe.
All right, we can look it up later.
Yeah, I knew he was. I remember the name, and I remember seeing some stuff of him in the past. The dude was a powerhouse, but yeah. Sean St. George, I already read his chat earlier, but thank you very much again for the donation. Lieutenant Gunslinger with $19.99. Popster, gal dumped me because I didn't want the vax. She's a soyentist. I work for Googly. Leftists are not liberals. They don't care about the freedoms of others. I tried dating in San Francisco. It is a nightmare. Chicks do nothing but show up.
Exactly.
Wow.
Move the fuck out of there.
You're not wrong.
Holy shit.
So we got here, Sean St. George says that headline is right. Planned Parenthood does target urban areas. What they left out is that they focus on locating near black neighborhoods. Yep. Yeah. But remember, you're not allowed to bring that up.
No.
You're not allowed to. The facts have no place in this American society anymore, boy. You got a pretty mouth. Frank Rizzo with $49.99. That gets you one of these, good sir.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Thank you so much.
And he says 200% Americans.
Excellent.
I like Americans, especially when they're nice, like D, double D. It's like my favorite.
Yeah, double D is a little too rich for my taste now. I'll take
you,
a C.
the full German guy?
I'll take a C plus D.
Yeah. Favorite bra size in the chat, dudes. Let her rip. But it is 9:38. We are going to take a quick break here. Remember, dudes, don't be afraid to send us those videos as super chats. We are collating them, and we've got a stack of videos already, probably big enough to do a fucked up but funny stream. It's going to happen. Send them on over. We appreciate every dollar because, as the meme says, we're not worthy.
And yesterday we covered the dumbass tax.
Which is probably going to become a show along with the fucked up and funny because that's damn funny. Just people, I don't know, Darwin Award winners.
Doing stupid shit.
Where would we be without them?
No, I know.
Yeah, pain looks great in other people.
It does. I was just going to say that.
All right, dudes, go refill your menageries, empty your squirrel bladders. We're going to see you over on New Tech in a bit. We're going to read that story, hopefully a new life saved. We'll see how that goes. And Jimmy Bones, if you're in the chat, I think you are, go ahead and paste those links in there for me because I got to pee. In the meantime, you guys enjoy some Jeffrey Paul tunes, and we will see you on New Tech in 5 minutes. Bye, YouTube.
All right.